Greetings, Internet. I am pAxRoC. Welcome to my guided playthrough of Koronis Rift for the Commodore 64. I chose to upload this video because I didn't find a proper playthrough of Koronis Rift online. I did find some speedruns, but speedruns won't help you experience the game in full because the enemy saucers will power scale fairly rapidly. So the purpose of this video will be to highlight the key modules you'll find throughout the rifts in the game to maximize your survivability. Now I did upload a previous guided playthrough, but I think it was a little too long. I wasn't seeing engagements for the entire video. So I decided to truncate some of the content and bring down the video size to hopefully engage with more viewers. If you want to see a longer video with more context, if you want to do more exploration and want some more hints, just drop me a comment below and I'll gladly make another video and upload it. Or you can go back and watch the original video. I'll just change the title. Anyway, that said, we're going to skip the first rift and we're going to go right to rift number 2. Now, the only module that we want on this rift is going to be the first Hulk, which is the detonator. The detonator is needed to defeat the enemy Guardian base at the end of the game on Rift 20. We are looting it early because the detonator does not improve if you loot it on later rifts. So the detonator that we get here on Rift number 2 is literally the exact same power and efficiency of detonators that we would loot later in the game. So being the first Hulk of the Rift, we could loot it and escape the Rift without being detected. This is important because the power scaling of the saucers is based not only on what rift that you're on, but how much time you spend on the rifts as well as how many encounters you trigger. So playing stealthy to avoid enemy encounters will certainly reduce the the amount of power scaling being done. All right, so that said, we're going to stick the detonator onto the mothership here just for storage, and we're going to go down to rift number 3. Now, Rift 3, we will spend a significant amount of time on. We're going to be upgrading all of the equipment on the default rover. We're going to get a better shield, a better laser, new generator, new power reserve. We're also going to pick up the electronic countermeasure and the mapper. These are optional modules, but you might find them useful. So figure out, include them in the video, and then play as you wish. Now we've already triggered our first saucer encounter. I would not recommend engaging in combat unless you're at the Hulk you want to loot, only because by destroying the saucer, it is possible you may trigger another encounter prior to getting to the Hulk you want to loot, and you cannot loot the Hulks while you're in combat. So in order to avoid unnecessary power scaling, I don't bother engaging in combat unless you're ready to loot. Or just go ahead and shoot everything if that makes your heart happy. Play the game whatever way makes you happy. Games are supposed to be fun, entertaining, and if destroying everything you see makes you happy, then hey, who am I to judge? Right. Also, the hitbox for Hulks is larger than the Hulk itself. So avoid any sort of firing around the Hulk. Even if I were to shoot like right around here, I would still destroy the Hulk because its hitbox is much larger than the actual Hulk itself. So the saucers love to maneuver in a way to encourage you to shoot around the Hulk. I don't know if it's coincidence or it's something that the developers coded into the game, but yeah, more than a few times I'd like to admit I've mistakenly shot a Hulk because I thought I was safely far away from the Hulk, and it was not. It registered a hit on the Hulk, which will destroy the Hulk in one shot. All right, so we just upgraded our generator. So you'll see if I hold down the trigger now, I pretty much have unlimited ammunition because the default laser has such a insignificant power draw. You can literally just hold the trigger down forever. No, we're not close enough. Let's try that again. Oh, and I missed it. Yeah, the sight range in order to loot a Hulk, you have to be about, I'd say, 50 to 66% of the distance, from sight range to the Hulk itself. Otherwise, it's going to be too far for the repo bot to loot it. All right, this one will give us the power reserve. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, even though we don't need it yet because the default laser has an insignificant power draw. But you'll see here, well, I'll go over all these screens. So above the crosshair in the upper left side, you'll see that's the proximity radar. That will indicate where the nearest Hulk is by keeping the yellow dot at the north position. We will be driving towards the closest Hulk. Above the crosshair here is the motion indicator, the direction you're going, if you're turning or not, and the red bar is your speedometer. Above the crosshair now is your power reserve, or like basically your battery. And then this here is your shield matrix. It's all empty now because we don't. The default shield doesn't register anything. But as you get improved shields, you'll see the various different strengths in the color spectrum in that screen there. That said, this Hulk will give us an improved shield, and as you see, it's hovering behind the Hulk, enticing us to shoot around it. I would certainly not recommend doing so. All right, we're going to go ahead and loot this. Now, it is a shield. I'm going to overwrite the shield that we have. During normal gameplay, I would not recommend doing this. Definitely go to the mothership and disassemble extra modules so that way you get the points. But this playthrough is going to focus on survivability, not point scoring, so I'm just going to overwrite all the modules as I play just to save us the time of going back and forth to the mothership. Now the default shield and default laser will not score you any points because they come with the rover. So those feel free to overwrite just to save yourself the time. But other than that, I would not recommend overwriting the modules. Might as well get the points. Looks like we shook off that saucer. Let's see if we're fortunate enough to make it to the next Hulk without triggering a new encounter. And there's the next Hulk right there. And we're looting. This one will give us the electronic countermeasure, or ECM for short. It will basically interrupt the enemy saucer's ability to detect and track you. I've never found it to be useful. Just keeping a strong generator and keeping a strong shield should be enough to reduce the risk of the enemy saucers. I turned it on just to show its purpose. Perhaps we'll shake off the saucer before we get to the next Hulk. But generally speaking, I'll just salvage and then disassemble these ECMs. Right, this one will give us a new laser. Turn off the ECM to save us the power drain. Now, power management is also a thing in Koronis Rift. The generator produces a set amount of power. So this will be shared across all the modules. Your shield, your power reserve, plus every single module that you turn on will have a power requirement just to have it turned on. So turning off modules you're not using will help you make sure that your shield gets the most power possible. Now the generator will prioritize shields first, but turning off items that you don't need will basically minimize any sort of power distribution. Never turn off your shield, obviously. Never turn off the generator itself. The power reserve does actually consume power in addition to storing power. So you can turn off the power reserve in a pinch if you just need to get the shields back up right away. But auxiliary units like the ECM or the mapper, which we're going to pick up now, if you're really getting hammered by an enemy fire, turn them off to maximize your shield recharge. And that's the mapper module. Again, the mapper, I've been playing this game for decades. I'm familiar with all the rifts. I don't use the mapper anymore. I'll keep it on just to show its functionality on rift number 5, but it is a tremendous power draw. So if you want to explore, feel free to use it. Turn it off when you engage in combat. Otherwise, you will notice your shields will take a while to recharge, especially if you're emptying your power reserve and your generator is recharging both your battery and your shield at the same time. With like the mapper on, it will certainly slow everything down and possibly get you killed if you're engaging in multiple saucers. Anyway, all right, that's done. Let's go ahead and skip rift number 4, and we're going to go right to rift number 5. I'm going to leave the mapper on. You'll see right here above the crosshair, that's what the mapper looks like. Now there's 2 modules that we're going to loot on this Hulk, a new shield and a new laser. Even though we just upgraded our shield and laser, this is in case you want to explore the rifts more thoroughly. This will give you an opportunity to upgrade your equipment in stages so that you could enjoy the game and not get your ass handed to you. Now, this is the Galaxian civilization. I call it that because the emblem for the insignia for this particular civilization looks like the Galaxian icon from Namco. So if you've ever played, arcade cabinet games, the game Galaxian, or it's also a bonus item in the greatest video game of all time. I'll let you figure out what game I'm talking about. But the reason this civilization is near and dear to me is because it's one of the few civilizations in this game that produce multiple modules, and not only do they do multiple modules, but they're effective at their rift level. Most of the civilizations in the game only produce one type of module, and they're not always the best. The Galaxian items often are the best for the rift level, or one of the best for the rift levels. So they've earned a spot in my heart as my favorite civilization in this game. Plus, it also looks like the Galaxian icon, which for an old school gamer like me, it's definitely a hit of nostalgia. So, I wasn't able to overwrite the shield because the saucer engaged us fairly quickly, but you'll see when I install the module what the emblem looks like, and you'll see and I've already flashed the Galaxian icon before. I'll flash it again when we install it, just so you see what I'm talking about. But yeah, the Galaxian civilization was not listed in the instruction manual that came with the game. About a dozen or so civilizations were listed, but some of them were not. So, when I was young, I got creative with naming them on my own. All right, we're going to go ahead and overwrite that shield. Now, if you have a module in the Repotech robot and you loot another Hulk before you have a chance to offload it, it will erase and overwrite whatever module it was carrying. So make sure if you see that add module choice on the menu, make sure you do that before looting another Hulk, otherwise you lose what it was that you looted. Now you'll see the yellow laser and yellow shield that we just obtained on this rift. The green icon, the emblem that represents the civilization, looks like the Galaxian icon. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it is what it is. Okay, we're going to go ahead and exit. We're also going to offload the mapper because it's a huge power suck. You already saw what it looks like, so we're not going to worry about that anymore. And we're going to go to rift number 7. Now we're going to exit this rift right away. The first Hulk gives you the stereo, which is a cutesy, whimsy module. It's purely cosmetic, but it does play the theme song for the game. If you want to see what that looks like, you can look at my other playthrough, but just to save time, we're not going to bother on this one. All right, we're going to go to rift number 8. Now on rift number 8, we want just one module, which will be the first one. It will give us the drive module, which will increase the top speed of your rover. Completely optional, but for me, I always found it useful to play with the drive module. It just kind of helps traverse the rifts quicker, reduces the number of enemy saucers, plus you can outrun them, so you can actually evade some of the encounters, which still increases the power scaling, by the way. Even if you shake them off, the power scaling still registers, but it just saves you the time and effort to not have to fight them. And this particular drive module is extremely efficient for its power consumption. So we'll be using this drive module until I believe Rift I think 18 has a better one, which we will be using. All right, so it looks like now we're up to 2 saucers. The first half dozen encounters or so, you only deal with 1 saucer, while the game is still in its easy phase. 2 saucers is the standard. So for the rest of the game, we'll be encountering 2 saucers. It never goes to 3. It will stay at 2. But at the next power scale, not only does their weapon damage power scale, but the frequency of their rate of fire increases, plus the 2 saucers will engage you at the same time. So the power scaling is gradual, but it is noticeable. Okay, so we got our improved drive module. Now we're going to go to Rift number 10. Now, as much as I love the Galaxian civilization, we will be replacing the shield on this rift with one from a civilization called Asparagus. They're not listed in the instruction manual, so young pAxRoC gave it its own name. You'll notice that the emblem for that particular civilization looks like the head of an asparagus. So young pAxRoC wasn't very creative. But the reason it kind of weighs on my heart is because most civilizations in this game specialize in only one type of module. A handful will put out a couple of modules, but most of them are usually not ideal. They're not well suited for the rift level. Other civilizations make the same module that's more efficient or better use. The Galaxian laser and shield is well equipped for the rift level. Not the best, but good enough to play with. Another example is that the generator module that we have equipped now, that civilization does not make the best generator. They also make a power reserve, which is not the best power reserve. The power reserve that we have now, that particular civilization does make the best power reserve. So just as an example, the civilizations that make multiple modules don't necessarily are the best ones with that module, which is why the Galaxian, another reason, not just for the nostalgia purposes, but another reason why the Galaxian is good in this game is because their modules are relevant for the rift levels. They're effective. Right, so you'll see I just overwrote the Galaxian shield with the asparagus shield. Now we're going to go down to rift number 12. We will be picking up 2 new lasers on Rift 12 as well, so unfortunately the Galaxian laser will also be departing. Okay, on this Rift we are going to be upgrading our generator, our power reserve, as well as the 2 more lasers. A blue one and a brown one. The brown one is slightly higher on the power draw, so I will be equipping the blue laser. Unfortunately, overwriting the Galaxian. But in your playthrough, if you spend more time exploring the rifts, you'll most likely get more use out of the Galaxian hardware. Okay. This is the generator. And this is the civilization that actually makes the best generators in the game. 2 shots, huh? Alright. So like I mentioned before, I'll be overwriting this generator, but in your playthrough, I would recommend, not overwriting it, going back to the mothership, disassembling the previous module in order to give you the points. Or if you don't care about the points and you just want to rush through while experiencing the game, then overwrite like I'm doing. I do have another playthrough that focuses on high scoring. I'll post a link for it above. Okay, this is the Scorpion civilization, as I call them. It's the same civilization that makes the power reserve that we currently have equipped. Of course, it goes right behind the Hulk, just enticing you to shoot at it. All right, where's your buddy? There you are. And so I'm going to overwrite the module. It's going to look exactly the same, but if you look on the power reserve screen, you'll see that we're storing a lot more energy than before. So now I can get like 3 or 4 shots with my laser. Four right away, which will be enough to pretty much wipe any saucer we see for a few rifts. But we're going to be collecting some upgraded lasers anyway. Now you'll see this generator is recharging the power reserve much faster than the previous generator. Now ironically, all of the generators that we find between the rift number 3, where we picked up that purple one, and this one, rift 12, all those generators suck. None of them are better than the generator from rift 3. I don't know if that was an oversight or a programming glitch by the developers, or if it was intentional. But you can see for yourself if you want to explore. But all the generators between rift 3 and rift 12, they're all less powerful than this one. So just FYI. Ah, it's not centered. There it goes. So that's the brown laser. We're not going to be using that one right away. This is going to be the blue one, which we will use. I'm going to put the brown one in storage. We might not use it because I think the blue one might last till the end of the game, but just in case, we're going to hold on to the brown one. Okay, put that in storage. Exit shift, and we're going to skip one. Now, this is going to be Rift 14. We are not going to spend any significant time on this rift, but the first Hulk will give you another asparagus shield, just like the one that we have here, but more powerful. Just to save time, I'm not going to loot it. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I'm trying to truncate this run to reduce the runtime. But that rift, the first Hulk, was another asparagus shield, worth picking up if you're playing. We're going to exit ship and go skip one more. Now, Rift 16, we are also going to depart. The first Hulk has a green shield. Again, it's another step up from the asparagus from 14. There's also a strong generator module on that Rift as well, but we are going to upgrade the generator, power reserve, and drive modules on Rift 18, which we're going to go to right now. So this rift will give us the power reserve, drive, and generator modules that we will use to finish the game. Technically, we could use the equipment that we have now, but if you wanted to play, by the time you get to these rifts, these saucers, if you spent any amount of time on the rifts, the power scaling would bring them to a point where they're going to be pretty strong. So just to highlight the key modules that will improve your survivability. Rift 18, the first 3 hulks will give you the power reserve, drive, and generator. Certainly worth stopping and looting. Now you may notice that the power draw of this laser is pretty significant. It's about 25% of the overall capacity, which we're not reaching with this power reserve. Now I'm not turning on the new power reserve. I didn't overwrite the old one because, as I mentioned earlier, the power reserve, not only does it store energy for your laser, but it also consumes energy to function. And this power reserve is significantly more of a power draw than the one that we have on. So I'm going to wait till we get the new generator to actually use that power reserve, which is why I put it in the empty slot. I want to be careful with my aim because I only get a few shots. I'm going to turn off the drive module. These saucers are actually doing a lot of damage to me. Holy cow. You see the power scaling is getting significant now. Like they're actually doing a good amount of damage on my shield. I'm just going to hide next to this mountain range here and see if we can avoid getting hit. Now the saucers do follow a pattern. Once you learn their patterns, you can anticipate where they're going to go. Each saucer is a different flight pattern. This one will give us the drive module, so I'll just overwrite the one that we have. It is a little bit more of an energy draw, but not by much. And the next Hulk will be the improved generator. Now you'll see we shook off that saucer encounter fairly quickly. That's because if you notice the speedometer, the red bar is filling nearly halfway across the screen. This drive module is the best drive module in the game. Not the strongest, but it is the most powerful for the least amount of energy, so most effective for sure. Turn off the drive because it's actually slowing down the shield recharge. Not being good with my aim. Go. Yeah, once we get this generator, our power problems will be over. I can be a little more reckless with my shooting. There we go. And we are going to overwrite the generator and go to the ship. Right. So my OCD is going to trigger a little bit. I'm going to get rid of the old power reserve. And we're going to install the new one over here. And we're going to go to Rift 19. Now, 19 will have the 2 best shields in the game. I will show you where to find them. Now, these shields will both have 2 different properties. The one that we're going to get first is my personal favorite. It has strength on the bookends of the shield spectrum, which is the purple, the blue, the red, and brown. We're going to go ahead and overwrite the asparagus shield with that one right now. This civilization is called Ox. I call it Ox, although it looks like a key. When I was younger, I just thought it was the word ox, so I just called them the Ox civilization. So you'll see now the shields are filling up nearly the entire bar. No shield actually fills it up all the way. I've never found them, and I've looted all the Hulks in the game. But this particular shield, the Ox shield, will its strengths focus on the bookends, as you see here. And the other shield that we're going to get, I'm going the wrong way. I think I've got to go this way on the mountain range. The other shield that we get is going to focus on the middle spectrum. I'll turn it on just so you can see the difference when I get it, but it will focus on the green and yellow bands, and the bookends are less strong. So depending on your playthrough, like you'll notice that the enemy saucers, there is a pattern to the weapons that they fire at you. There is a pattern to the colors. So I recommend picking up both of these shields because depending on your playthrough, you know, if you spend any more time on the rifts, you might be in a different part of the rotation and require a different quantum color spectrum. So you see here the green, yellow, and blue are stronger, but the bookends are weaker, and I should have gone to the ship when we had the chance. Drive. So you see now both of the saucers are attacking us at the same time. More evidence of the power scaling. And that will be it for the looting. We are going to go to Rift 20 and finish the game. I think I'm going to bring the brown laser along. It is the strongest laser that we have. If you stuck around on Rifts 18 or 19, there are more stronger lasers you can pick up. But for the purpose of this playthrough, we're not going to bother. Where's the brown laser? There it is. Okay, here we go. Now I don't know if the Guardian base is at a static location. Perhaps it is, but normally the way I beat the game is I'll just drive all the Hulks in this game. They're all Guardian Hulks. You can't loot them. They'll destroy your Repotech robot. And then they will fire white fireballs at you when there are enemy saucers nearby. If there's no enemy saucers, you're not in combat. The Guardian Hulks do not attack you. Now, they fire white fireballs at you, which will damage a little bit from every color spectrum in the game. But more importantly, I think that the white fireballs also add some type of multiplier to the enemy saucers, because I have been killed with shield strength getting hit with these white fireballs and getting hit by the enemy saucers. So definitely try and keep your distance without letting them fire at you. It will be a problem. if you get too close and they're shooting you with the white fireballs, just drive away, or just turn them so they're off your primary windshield here. Because if they're not on your windshield, they're not going to fire at you. You could use the detonator that will automatically kill these hulks, but then you have to go back to the mothership and replace your RepoTech robot each and every time, which is a bit of a slog, so I'm just shooting them with the laser. Now the Guardian base, you can't shoot with the laser. You can, but it takes so many shots. You're going to have saucers relentlessly attacking you, and that's the enemy base right there. It's the Guardian base. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill these saucers, so that way it's not firing at us. That's one. All clear. Okay. So now we need the detonator module, that same one that we got from Rift number 2. So we're going to go... Oh, shoot. That's not what I wanted. All right. Sorry, RepoTech. Why can't I... It's not letting me call the ship. There it goes. So I shot the RepoTech robot to basically quickly end its looting routine, but I don't think it worked because it still took a while to call the ship. It doesn't matter because it gets replaced when you go to the mothership anyway. So, all right, so now we want the detonator module. There's the mapper. Old shield. Now you could dismantle all these things for points. Again, I'm not going to bother. Oh, I scrolled the wrong way. Now the mothership can only hold 6 or 8 modules. So as you store, like if you explore each of the rifts, as you're exploring, you're going to want to dismantle the older modules, if not for points, but just for the, just for the space. All right, there's the detonator. All right. Sometimes the ship doesn't put you in the right spot. All right, so with the detonator on, you loot the Guardian base Hulk. The RepoTech delivers the explosive, destroying the Guardian base, and that's it. Game over. And that's how you win Koronis Rift. So obviously the score that we're going to get is well, we're going to get 100,000 points just for beating the game. But we haven't, I think I dismantled, what, 1 module, if that. So the score is going to be extremely low. All right, this is the victory crawl. Date 30 Fabrius 2249. Message to the New Federation, or New Federation Claims Office. Star System 583. I guess humanity is pretty spread out by this point. Security ID. Then the message reads, Koronis Rift discovered. Guardian base destroyed. Request title to planet. Request title to planet Koronis. Ancient technology secured. End of transmission. XP 38. So that's the victory screen scroll. Here's our endpoint. Yeah, 100,630 points. So that's basically it. You score 100,000 for beating the game. All the modules you disassemble will add to that score. I will have several videos posted of my own scoring trials. I believe my personal best is around 150,000. I've already uploaded one video that was 132 and change. I'm going to upload more. But that's all. So I am pAxRoC. Thank you for watching this video. Time is precious, so always remember, be true, stay strong, and rock on. Goodbye.